Quickly coming up, I am going to be making Chinese turnip cakes for you guys today. This recipe shouldn't be too strange to you guys because turnip cakes are actually served at dim sum. They're usually in the carts where they'll pan fry it on the skillet for you on the spot. Now they're usually made with the Chinese sausages and dried shrimp, but I have an amazing vegan version that's made from carrots and mushrooms and scallions, and it is absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to show you guys this recipe, so let's head over to the kitchen and then let's get started.
Okay guys, so we're going to start off by peeling a half a pound of Daikon radishes, and I'm going to put mine in the food processor, but you can actually just grate yours with a grater, and I did mine pretty finely, but I would say if you like kind of a softer texture and kind of bigger pieces of radish throughout, you can actually just do a larger grate. And then afterwards, you want to put it into a sieve and squeeze out some of that liquid, because you're going to want to end up collecting about 2 cups of radish liquid, and then whatever you don't have, you can add water to afterwards. But you just want to let that strain in the strainer for about 10 minutes. Afterwards, you want to prepare all of the vegetables and whatnot that you're going to put into your cake. So I've sliced about 1.5 shallots to thin pieces, and then about 2 small medium-sized carrots into a nice fine dice so that you can have like little pieces throughout your cake. Afterwards, I have 4 to 5 stalks of scallion that I've just chopped up as well. I have 1/3 cup of dried shiitake mushrooms that I've rehydrated, and now I'm going to cut them up into bite-sized pieces so that they'll match the carrots and the scallions. So this is TVP. It's going to provide little bits of kind of that meaty bite that you'd be missing if you didn't use the Chinese sausages. So I'm just going to put that in. There's a couple tablespoons of oil already in there. I'm just going to fry it up for about a minute or two. Ingo, about 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and then 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and that's going to make this taste a little bit more meaty. So in the same pot, a couple tablespoons of olive oil again, and I'm going to put in the carrots and then the shallots. And I'm just going to fry them up over medium heat up until probably the shallots kind of get nice and golden brown and slightly crispy, and then also that the carrots have time to soften. So this is kind of how they look afterwards, at which point I'm going to add in the rest of the stuff. So these are the shiitake mushrooms, and then in go the scallions, and I'm actually going to save probably half of the green parts of the scallions for afterwards, because after you fry them, the scallions kind of turn a little bit brown, and I want to keep that vibrant green color. So I'm just going to add in the other half a little bit later. So after probably just a couple of minutes of frying it, again on medium heat, we're not trying to burn anything, it'll kind of look cooked and dried and a little bit golden brown. So this is exactly how you want it. So in go 1/2 teaspoon of soy sauce, and that'll provide some nice flavor, and then also the rest of the TVP. So I'm just going to swish that around and then let that cool. Put that to the side in a plate and then to let it cool. So this is all of the water that we have received from the radishes, and remember, if you don't have enough liquid, just put a little bit of water in there afterwards. What I'm going to actually do is I saved up some of that liquid from rehydrating this shiitake mushroom, so it's extra flavor, it's extra good, and I'm just going to make sure that it's about 2 cups, okay? So in the radishes go into a pan, and then all of that liquid again. Somehow it tastes a little bit different after you've dehydrated it and then rehydrated it again. So I have 1/2 teaspoon of white pepper, a tablespoon of vegan chicken powder, and then 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and also 1 to 2 tablespoons of sugar. So in it goes. You're going to whisk it around and then bring this mixture to a boil. After it comes to a boil, you want to cook it for about 2 to 3 minutes until the radishes are soft. Because these radishes were cut so thinly, they don't take a lot of time at all. But if you do want to cut them into bigger chunks, then it might take about 5 to 6 minutes, just until they are softened. So afterwards, you just want to, you don't actually need to cover it, but just put it aside and let this mixture cool before you do anything else with it. Now, for the kind of the third part of our cake. So this is 1 cup of rice flour, and then to that, I'm going to add 2/3 of a cup of cornstarch, and then also 1.25 cups of water. It will start off lumpy first, but then it turns into a super smooth batter like this. So you just want to whisk that around and then set it aside until everything else cools. So right now we're ready to put everything together. This is an 8 to 9 inch circular pan that I have put parchment and also oiled. And this is when I put my turnip mixture into the rice batter, and a lot of the recipes that you might see will put everything over the stove, and you can cook it until it's thickened before they begin to steam the batter. But I actually find that this method results in a more dense cake, because you're essentially cooking the rice flour and the rice batter before you steam it again. So this will kind of ensure that it is nice and still soft after you steam it. So we're going to put the rest of our filling in, and then this is the leftover scallions that are green, so it'll be nice and pretty in the cake as you guys steam it. So you can see how many lovely colors are in there. I mean, you can put any vegetables that you want in, just make sure it's a little bit dehydrated, so like something like zucchini or whatnot. So pour all of that batter in, and oh, so pretty, and all of the nice little pieces. It's gonna be so good. You want to put a piece of foil on top of it because as you steam it, some of the condensation might get onto the cake, so you just want to be careful with that. And the water is already boiling, so you want to steam this guy for about an hour on medium to medium high, so a nice healthy boil. And then this is how it looks like after it's done. You want to stick a toothpick in, and if whatever sticks to it runs clear, then you're pretty much good. And usually when you poke the toothpick in, you can feel that the cake gives some give as well, meaning it's basically done and it's not soft anymore. So you want to make sure to cool everything. This is the last step that will make the turnip cake super good, and you're just gonna pan fry it. So take an offset spatula, and it releases pretty easily if you grease the pan well enough. And usually turnip cakes in the stores are rectangular in shape, so those little pieces around it, I suppose you could have used a rectangular pan as well, but I had a hard time fitting that into the steamer. So this is just how I'm going to cut it, and I actually cut it on the cross section so that you can see a lot more of the vegetable pieces in between. So a couple tablespoons of oil again, and I would say 2 to 3 minutes on medium to medium high heat. You're looking to create like a nice crusty toast on the outside and not to burn anything. So 2 to 3 minutes each side, and then I'm just going to decorate it with a little bit of scallions. Normally you can put a little bit of cilantro in as well, but you can see how amazing that looks. I'm serving it traditionally with a little bit of hoisin sauce so that it is nice and sweet, and it kind of juxtaposes against kind of the more salty and more savory flavor of the turnip cakes. So these cakes turned out amazingly well, and I hope you guys like the recipe and definitely give this a try. Chinese New Year is on January 28th this year, so I think it's kind of a fun, like, different type of steamed cake recipe that is pretty fun to make. So anyways guys, if you like this recipe and want to see more like it, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye!